Hi, Meeky. Welcome to the PowerTalk Show powered by Business Talks Weekly. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and joining our channel today. Can you tell us a bit about your background and what led to the creation of Endeavor?
So my background is actually I have an engineering background and also kind of business related engineering background. So I'm a developer and a technical person. So I started as a developer and kind of went to like the managing like the projects, technical, so website development, like platform implementation, software development. And when I was working in agencies mostly later in my career before we started. So I met my now coworker, Matt, at my previous agency. He was my boss's boss. So he and I worked together in a little bit, but not too closely because he was pretty much overseeing the entire department and I was overseeing the WordPress pretty much sector in digital media space and enterprise level digital publishing companies. And he left the company around the time I left as well. And I was in between trying to figure out what next. And so during that time, I ended up doing some freelance project with him and we're talking about how we can do project better. And we were working together very, very well. And we were seeing things eye to eye on a lot of things that we were working on. So with that, we're just kind of like, why don't we start a company? And that started Endeavor. So in the beginning, it's been 10 years, a little over 10 years ago. But in the beginning, I was a little naive that I didn't know what starting a business or running a business was like. So it was a lot of learning, a lot of challenges, a lot of great times. But now that it's been over 10 years, it's still
Wow.
going and it's still learning and still exciting and still hard. It's a mix of a lot of things.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Meeky. So, Meeky, why WordPress? Why not any other platform? Why did you choose to have an expertise on WordPress?
We do other platforms as well. So we're mostly on open source, but we do a lot with WordPress now because WordPress is it's actually 43% of the websites are powered by WordPress. And in the CMS work, because since we're dealing with a lot of digital media publishing companies, content management system is what we use a lot because they need to create contents. So, and then we do work with a lot of open source. So we do work with we have worked with a closed source as well. But um, if you look at the stats now, I think it was from last year that 64% of CMS is on WordPress. So it's a big market. And because of a lot of people are familiar with it, it's an easier entry point for a lot of editors to be familiar. They're already familiar with WordPress. So like it's a easier choice for that. And then a lot of developers that we work with, since we work with open source and PHP based lab stack, a lot of people are familiar with that. So
Yeah.
it's easier to learn to begin in the beginning, but since we deal with a lot of enterprise level platforms, we need full stack developers learn throughout the whole course, or we prefer like computer science background with a full stack skill set for our people who are working with.
Absolutely, makes sense. And Miki, when I was going through your website, I saw like you specially focused on health and wellness based companies and build their websites. Why that specific industry?
So with our experience on the digital media publishing, because we have previously, we work a lot with enterprise level digital media publishing companies like Boars, Wimber, PMC, Timing, and now that they're kind of bought by different companies. So like they're different in different places. With that experience, because now marketing and then content publishing is something that all the business have to do. There's like it's inevitable that you need a content management system to handle your content for your business. So with that experience, we wanted to explore more on the health and wellness and also manufacturing as well. But I have experience with health and wellness companies like Pfizer and Johnson and Johnson before, so we wanted to do some pivot around and help them to get to that level of like digital publishing and digital media for their companies.
Yeah, makes sense. Miki, there's AI and LML platforms, and everybody's talking about the changes that will come into the marketing world. How is website development going to change with AI?
I think it's gonna help a lot. I know there was some scared about people like taking over their jobs, but I don't think it's gonna be the case. It's gonna be helping you be more efficient. Even like the code writing or like looking at the code review and then like just prototyping something really fast. So it used to be harder and slower without AI because like you all have to pretty much write the entire thing. You have to come up with all this different case scenarios and like edge cases and all that. But you can start creating something faster and then you can kind of build upon it. And I have played with a lot of vibe coding too, but it's not at a place that it's a production level. It's a lot of I was joking about this with my partner. I was like, it's a very, very smart prototype that you
Mhm.
still need to have someone in a senior level looking over to make sure it's secure and it's performing correctly and it's written right. Felt like there's like a bunch of junior developer just kind of put in all the things, which is not necessarily efficient, but it does the job in the beginning to showcase it or even like just kind of like have like a first draft of the app. So with that, you still need a lot of overseeing and then also cleaning up, and you need to ask the right questions. As a developer, technical person, I know exactly what I need to ask to build the app. But if you're not technical and have no idea, it'll be a different prompt or different directions that are going to go, and it's going to take longer to just redo and then clean up and do all that stuff. With that, I think it's going to be more efficient if you know how to use it right. You just have a competitive advantage from that. And I think same thing with the marketing space too, because writing a content or getting like a first draft or getting some topic ideas of what to write, and also even researching on what's a good topic to write about, what is the pain point of the client that or customer base that you're looking at. Those things can be a lot faster than just researching by someone or even a virtual assistant, because it's a human's job, but you do like a first the nitty gritty work done, and then if you have someone human looking over it, it's going to be a lot faster to kind of shift through it and filter through the content that's already kind of provided for you.
Absolutely makes sense. That's very interesting because Miki, you are very technical and you are a developer. You come from a technical background. I have this one particular question that I want to understand. Many people use drag and drop options, ready-made WordPress template or any other template to build their website. But does it really affect the SEO part, the technical SEO part, and does these drag and drop options make your website load time much more slow?
So it depends on how you build it and how many things you put in. It can be if you're overloading just all the drag and drop stuff that's not built right, then it will have some performance implication because like it's just adding on top of everything. And then the themes, if it's built right, it will kind of consider that before you actually, because you will consider that the user will be editor will be doing that just kind of stacking a lot of things. But some of the things that are not built correctly or didn't have time to just kind of consider that portion, I've seen some themes really slow down the sites by just adding a bunch of things. Because like for example, like if you're adding 3 different blocks that kind of does the same thing, like so yeah, then you have to add a JavaScript library or a CSS. You just need to put it once, but then if you don't consider that and it's just like every block that you put in, drag and drop block you put in, you just add same thing over and over, that's just gonna like make the site slower as well. So it's just like a simple example in a very high level. So some of the themes are built correctly to consider that. Some themes aren't. So you need to be cautious of that. So like that could slow down your theme site a lot. And also same thing for the WordPress, and then it dribble. Like if you're adding different modules and different plugins, they might not consider what other plugins are doing. Sometimes you still have to have customization, or you need to have a developer look over it to make sure that those plugins are not fighting each other, these modules are not fighting each other. And also with those the out of the box drag and drop things, like if you want to do one thing slightly differently, it might be very difficult to do. So you're just fighting with that block for the editor. Like if you want to do like a one thing a little differently than what is really meant to be doing, that can be also time consuming and a waste editor's time as well. So it can be good and bad. So like if you know how to do it, if you're already very used to it and also kind of have a consultation with a developer, it can be very, very powerful. But at the same time, if you don't know what you're doing, and then if you are just putting everything together to make it pretty,
Yeah.
just gonna, some things have to give. So some
Yeah.
performance or security might actually be needed.
Absolutely. It's very interesting because, this brings me to my next question. Like, what are some of the weird requests that you get from your clients? It's a very client heavy industry. So how do you tackle these challenges?
I mean, I don't know if you can call it a weird request, 'cause, like, for them, it's might not be weird. So they're very
Yeah,
diverse
absolutely.
requests are there. They can be very interesting, or they can be challenging. For me, I have a personalized, like, if it's challenging, it's interesting to me. So, like, if they have to really bring in a bunch of different things, and with a challenge, that's also always a fun project to do. But a lot of times it's more of a challenge because, like, they want to add a bunch of different things from a bunch of different places. But some things might not be available for you to integrate with. So, like, for instance, I think there was a time that we're creating API endpoints to grab in the local information, so like the weather information, traffic information, and some of the things to do to kind of show. So it's like it's pretty much the content was putting into one of those, like, a big screen at the company in London, and they're just kind of pulling in local information to show that for the employees before they leave. So, like, some bike, I think there's like a uh, bike rental thing going on, and then those informations. But
Mhm.
we realized that some of these information we wanted to grab are not really available for us to pull in as data. So, like, those cases, you actually have to contact the place that they're actually handling those, and then have to figure out how to build the data endpoints for us to consume. So those kind of things, it's an interesting request. It's a very different request than normal
Yeah.
things, but it also kind of it's a fun project because it's a challenge that you have to kind of overcome.
Absolutely, absolutely makes interesting. And if you are in an industry which is very tech dependent, and there are so many platforms, there are so many agencies that help customers as well as yourself. So, what has been your biggest challenge, Miki, to grow your business?
I think being competitive as well. I think you just said that it's a very, very concentrated agent place, but you just need to know to do the job well. I think that's kind of like one of the things. Like, it's a very, very basic, but it's a universal truth. You need to do your job well in order to make sure that you stay competitive. But yeah, so that's one of the challenges. Kind of make us known to the people that who don't know about us, because a lot of our clients who know us and work with us tend to stay with us. Like, that kind of like proves that we're doing things right. And maybe we did things right too. But just getting attention to the new people who are not familiar with us is always a challenge. And then I think it's probably a challenge for a lot of business owners or and agencies as well.
So, what is your vision, Miki? Where do you see in the next 3, 4 years? Where will Endeavor be?
That's a good question. I mean, we talk about it a lot in mostly numbers because since I'm technical and my co-founder is very technical too, so we always kind of like see it in numbers. Even if, like, we just kind of try to put everything to kind of and analyze it and look at it in numbers, and it's interesting enough. I'll have certain goals for the year or for 3 years or 5 years.
Yeah.
And my co-founder will actually come back with, like, actually breaking that into the years with the numbers and how many what we need to achieve by quarter and month.
Mhm.
And then that made it actually happy because it's very, very clear for us. But to answer, we do want to grow our business, obviously, because it's been 10 years and I felt like we're not at a place that we wanted to be. And also, we want to make sure that do interesting projects and then give something that interesting that provide to the society or world that it's interesting product and then something that can be more efficient for business and help the clients. That's our goal.
Interesting. And wishing you all the very luck in your goal. One final question, Miki. I actually ask this to all my guests. One piece of advice you got that changed your perspective professionally and personally.
I think it was more towards the beginning. I realized that, like, I work in a client and when I was really new and I was a developer, and then I work in a very, very big company, and there are a lot of other people from different departments, and they were experts on their own area. But and then I was very naive, and I thought, like, if I don't know anything, I'll be just quiet and just listen to everyone. And I realized that those people who are experts in their area didn't know anything about what I was working on. So I have
Absolutely.
to really dumb down the conversation, like with languages or terms that I was using to make sure that people can understand it. That kind of made me realize that there are experts that are, but you don't have to be good at everything. You can't just like, you understand that other people have their expertise, but doesn't necessarily know the other areas. So like that kind of made me realize that I can always ask questions because if I'm not clear on it, that will not make me look stupid or anything. And it's better to just make sure that I'm on the same page as what I understand what's going on around us. So like that kind of made me realize that like I don't have to be afraid to ask questions. So I mean that's like a very small thing in the beginning, but that made a lot of changes because like I don't want to act. I didn't need to act like I know everything, or I just don't need to not say anything because I don't know certain things. It's just open to ask questions, and it made it a lot of things easier and faster and more efficient.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent piece of advice. Thank you, Meeky. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. It was very insightful. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for having me, Navin.